Hello and welcome back, my name's Sullosian and this is another episode of Skywanderers. So this will just be a mini episode, just for now, but then the next episode, which will go out basically just after this one, will be to cover the rest of the stuff which is over there. But this episode, just a mini episode showcasing, I guess, the Vipers that I've made. So we didn't actually have any small fighters for the Sullosian Empire, Sullosian Fleet, anything like that. And being Battlestar Galactica was one of my favourite shows, and Star Trek doesn't really have too many fighters because they all had the large sort of Federation ships. Federation, is that the right word? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, they didn't really have any fighter ships. So Battlestar Galactica being one of my next favourite shows and overall theme and sci-fi universe, I decided to go for the Viper. Now this is no specific Viper, it's more or less a Sullosian remix, as you'll call it, just like a few of the other builds I build, like the Sullosian Command Ship / Destroyer. But we'll just jump straight into this. So we got two versions here, and we'll go over the differences after, but basically this is the standard model. So standard model is dark grey with a red sort of paint job on it, a Bordeaux paint job. So it's a standard speed, it's got the standard 3 thrusters at the back, it's got 2 weapons and then 2 later programmable weapons if need be. More of like a they're there if you ever need them, but they're not actually linked up to any button. So I might link them up to something, I don't know, but they're just sort of there for effect at the moment, those 2 front ones there. And then here you've got the main ones that actually fire, so I tried to be show accurate with the weapons there. They fire a red / orange sort of bullet, even though these are lasers, and the ones in the show were, I'm pretty sure, are actual bullets. In the remaster sort of show, that is. So we'll just come out of F2 here, and basically we'll just put our flashlight on so you can see everything. Not too much detailing, but basically different to how most people build their ships, this one is basically 98% bricks instead of blocks. So the few blocks that we've got are these ones here, which are just for decoration because of the lighting on them. The 3 thrusters, the ship core, which is just in front there, and then the one single ship void generator, which is just in the middle here, which you can sort of see there, and there's ship core there. And then you've also got the canopy blocks here, which I tried initially building out of bricks and transparent glass bricks, but you couldn't actually see through the transparent glass bricks, they looked bloody awful, and basically just don't use them for a canopy, it doesn't work. So we've got the underside here, which I'll just sort of try to show you. Just slow down my speed so I'm not moving so quick. Just try to add a little bit of plating and all that, and yeah, it's all pretty nice. Pretty happy with how this turned out. It looks really good in my opinion, except for the glitching texture there from the I believe that's the slider to get the engines just half a block closer to the middle. Basically they would have been just slightly further this way, or just, yeah, basically I didn't even realise you could do that, but it turns out you can just right click that and you can even open it up a little bit, gain access to that. Wish I'd known that whilst I was building it, but it would seem if I do that and then I just right click that, I can close it back up. So that's actually nice information for me as well. But I'll just show you the logic now. So we've got this logic sort of section here. I'll actually just run you through what all of this is. If you don't want to see this, then just skip forward by about a minute. But basically, initially we've got the cockpit here, which has the joystick. So the joystick goes into, just close the cockpit again, joystick there goes into this quad enter-gate here. Quad enter-gate goes into a few different things. We'll just grab a piece of logic so I can show you the lines. You've got the right mouse button, the middle mouse button, and you've also got the left mouse button. So left mouse button directly activates a button which goes straight into the kill switch, which is basically cut off and on by using the right mouse button. So signal on left click will go through the kill switch and will get cut off by right mouse button if need be, and then from there it will go into a repeater, which is just a constant gate set to a value of 1, which then goes into a delay gate of a value of 0.1, which then goes into here, a dual link gate, which then splits off into both reactivating the switch, which completes the repeater sort of circuit, so it sort of links back in itself, which keeps it going infinitely after a 0.1 second delay. And then this one here goes into this dual link gate here, which goes off into the two turrets, 1 and 2. Hopefully that makes sense. Now I'll go into the slightly more complex part, which is just a little feature I added. Basically, with using a kill switch gate is, if you activate it, then it stops the repeater from functioning with this logic circuit design. So I needed a way of reactivating the kill switch in a way. I'm sort of losing myself here a little bit, but I'll try to get it going. Basically, kill switch is activated by the right mouse button, and that is basically going from this switch here. So your right mouse button, which goes to this switch goes into this dual link gate here, which goes both into the kill switch gate, and then it also goes into a differential gate, I think that's called, router gate, sorry. So basically that means if it receives a positive value, it will output on this one, and if it doesn't receive a positive value of anything above 0.5, it outputs a different option. So what I've done here is I've got the options for that going into a delay gate, which means that if I right click, it activates the kill switch gate, which basically turns on the weapon, and then, or turns off the weapon after I right click it, and then it goes into the switch gate thingy here, and then that splits off into delay gate, which then after a 0.5 second delay reactivates the kill switch, so that way you can fire again. Now I'll actually just go into the cockpit and try and demonstrate, because it's kind of complex. I don't even know how I built that. I sort of just lost myself when I was building it. It took me about 30 minutes to build that, and it's a really simple circuit. Basically, go into here, and we'll just press tab, but basically going to F4, if I left click, it fires infinitely forever, so long as I've pressed left click once. So I don't left click heaps of times or anything, it just goes like that. If I right click, then it turns it off, and then basically that circuit on the top that you can see up there, the differential, whatever one I called it, that basically turns off the kill switch after I've activated it using the right click. So left click fires, right click activates kill switch, and then it immediately basically gets the delayed signal to deactivate the kill switch so I can fire again. Hopefully that makes sense. Basically it just means left click fire, right click stop, left click fire, etc. And it's also got a middle mouse button, which you might have seen linked there, which does a single missile out the front of the ship there. Right, hopefully all of that makes sense. We'll just close that up now. But basically that's the logic compartment for the ship. On this ship here, there's a lot more logic and there's a lot more to it, just because this is the Commander's Viper. So you'd have like a squadron of these, so you'd have like 10 of these guys. Then you'd have the CAG, I think they're called in the Battlestar Galactica show. The CAG is the leader of the squadron, and he basically commands all the other troops and such. So we'll just take this one out for a spin briefly. So basically this one doesn't have the lighting involved, but you use just that button there to activate that. This one here isn't activated yet, so that entry point doesn't actually work. Basically, we'll see all these lines. I'm holding a piece of logic. We'll go into this. I'm actually running the new experimental version, which has the new flight system. So I guess I'll be showing that off to you. And quite suddenly it seems that we're actually losing power. We're gaining heat because we don't have enough blocks on the ship. This wasn't an issue before, so I'm only just noticing it, but we'll go into flight mode basically. Okay, we'll just hold down T here. and we'll just sort of fly it around, and it takes a little while to get up to speed. This is why this is the standard version, and I end up creating the command ship version, the CAG version, so to say. But you can fly with the mouse button here just by moving the mouse around, so moving it to the left and right rolls it left and right, and then up and down is moving it up and down. So yeah, hopefully that's just nice, and it's pretty awesome. First thing I wanted to do with this was disable the basically anti-stall sort of mechanism. So that's pressing U key, and then you just sort of flip around, and then it tells you MV collapse, and then if you keep spinning you should stall. Oh, I haven't stalled yet. MV collapse, MV stall any moment now, hopefully. No, it hasn't happened. We mustn't be moving fast enough or something, I don't know. It has worked in previous tests though, I'll promise you that. So this one only gets up to about 150 meters per second. It's not very fast, but it is a decent fighter. It will take out its enemies nice and quickly, and it's one man, and it was completely powered well, so all of that was working well, but it doesn't seem to be working just right now. So we'll just get it out of here now, and we'll go have a look at the orange command ship version, which, there it is. Okay, we'll just fly over here. Just realign ourselves with this. So this one's a bit more special. Hopefully you can see that this one has a bit more work put into it. This is basically like Darth Vader would fly around his version, which is a better version of the spaceship that the other stormtrooper pilots would get, sort of thing, if you know what I mean. But this one has a little bit more detailing. Hopefully you can see that. This one has 2 void generators in it to give it that extra oomph of power. It also has 1 extra thruster block just here, which gives it even more speed. Now I did try giving it more and more thrusters, but it seemed that having 2 generators is only really just enough to have this amount of thrusters, and I was happy with the amount of thrusters and the speed it got me up to. So basically this one's a different colour scheme, orange, as you can see around there. It fires orange weapons instead of red weapons. It fires a orange missile instead of just a plain white one, and this one has all 4 turrets hooked up, as well as it's just on my mind, I've already lost it. Yeah, but we'll just move on. Sorry, completely lost what I was about to say. This one has 2 different things. So it has, I'll just turn my light off so you can see, when the cockpit is closed, lights are off. When you open the cockpit, a little set of lights come on, so that way you can actually see where you're sitting down and all that. And also this one has some fancy stuff here, which I'll try and show you once we get in. But I'll just give you a bit of a look around. This one's all made out of bricks as well, just almost identical, just a bit larger on the bottom here because it has an extra generator, which goes down by about 1 extra brick. So it's just a little bit bigger, but I tried to make it less noticeable by blending it a bit more with angles. Hopefully that's good. We'll just jump in here, up close to the cockpit, and the lights go out. But we do have a spare set of lights, a nice bright orange light like so. So as you can see here, very fancy schmancy. And this one has landing gear as well, as you can see here. So just out the back, a little panel opens up which uses the back landing gear, and then the front is just a thing like that. Let's try and activate it, and there you can see it folded away. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with how the landing gear and all that turned out. But one of the main things I liked about this was these buttons here, which activate the engines. So basically you can just sort of see like nice spinning things on the side there, which I think are pretty awesome. Pretty happy with how all that turned out. And so they just sort of stay on, give you a mechanical noise and all that. Just turn the light off, and then we've got canopy, like so. We have no weapons which is NW, or we've got Control/W, which means control with weapons basically. So we'll just do this one here, and we'll go into that. So holding press T to get throttle back up. This one got up to, like the last one took a while to get up to 130. This one's already at 160, which is basically the max speed of the other one. So just that extra one thruster really makes a hell of a difference. And I've had this up to over 350 meters per second if I let it fly in a straight line for a little while. I'll just fly over the top of the ships over there, which I will show you in the video, which you'll see shortly after this if you decide to watch it. So yeah, hopefully this showcase has been good for you and all of you enjoyed it. And if you have any questions about the new spaceship physics and all that sort of systems, just let me know and I'll try my best to answer them, and I'll demonstrate them in any future videos. And I will see you in the next one.